And President Biden is expected to speak on the rise of anti-Semitism tomorrow as anti-Israeli protests fueled by his top political donors continue at colleges across the country.
And as protesters are arrested after piling up around the country, cities are being left to pay the high costs of the police response.
We have team coverage. Madison Allworth is right outside Columbia. But first, let's go to Peter Doocy at the White House. Guys?
Good morning. We knew the money was coming from somewhere, right? The matching tents, the professionally printed signs, all the supplies. Well, now we know that they were, at least in part, indirectly paid for by some of America's wealthiest liberal families. Politico did an investigation. Part of it says President Joe Biden has been dogged for months by pro-Palestinian protesters calling him Genocide Joe. But some of the groups behind the demonstrations received financial backing from philanthropists pushing hard for his re-election. The donors include some of the biggest names in Democratic circles: Gates, Soros, Rockefeller, and Pritzker, according to a Politico analysis. The Gates Foundation says that their donations to these groups are not active. They have stopped. But not George Soros. You see in December, $300,000, November, $350,000, September, $250,000. Susan Pritzker, October, $3,300. Nicholas Pritzker, November, $3,300. David Rockefeller, in September, $10,000. That would be donations to the Biden. That is a list of Biden campaign donors who are funding some of these groups that are behind the anti-Israel college protests. And that is that some Democrats in Congress say that they are eager to vote in favor of a House bill that adopts the Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism as law.
I was one of the co-leaders, sponsors of that bill, so of course I'm going to vote yes on that. And I think it's a very valid concern that really allowed that. I mean, that's an overwhelming vote, a bipartisan vote in the House as well. I think it's a great bill, and I look forward to voting for it.
So it appears that some wealthy donors are playing both sides of this election campaign, giving to President Biden's re-election effort while also giving to some of the groups that are supporting these protesters who are seen as hurting President Biden's re-election effort. Back to you.
That might come up at the White House press conference today. Am I right, Peter?
Yes, right on.
If they call on you. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Now we turn to Madison Allworth, who is outside Columbia University, with more on who should be paying for the police response. Madison.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, you know, college protests, they continue to grow, as does the police response and arrests on these protests. As they grow, so does the tab for the taxpayer. It is up to the city to pay for the police response on these university campuses. But some lawmakers are now saying that the universities, especially the private ones, should pay the bill. Mayor Eric Adams here in New York City saying late last week that at a minimum it should be shared with private schools like Columbia.